Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to the series on understanding and addressing vaccine hesitancy in the Muslim community, especially approaching it from an Islamic perspective. In today's episode, we will be looking at the claims made by some that there's a reason why people should hesitate when it comes to taking vaccines and why some should even be against it. And the reason given is that some within the medical profession, some healthcare workers are also hesitant and they don't take it for themselves or allow it for their children. Some claim that the vaccination program, the immunization programs are really just big experiments on populations where we're just being used as guinea pigs for somebody's experiments. I am your host, Muhammad Nuruddin Lemu, and with me to discuss today's topics are two of our distinguished guests, Brother Adam Abdurrahman, who comes from a biological science background, and our microbiologist, Sister Ruqayya Kinta. You are both most welcome. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I'd like to start with you, Sister Ruqayya. What would you say to those who claim that the very same medical professionals who study this subject area are more in the know regarding vaccines? Even they don't take the vaccines, nor do they allow it for their children. And if they are hesitant, then it's the wisest thing to do is for the rest of us to actually be even more hesitant. What would you say?
Thank you very much. You see, for all these claims, the first thing we need to do is to look at the verification questions. Where do you get this information from? And how true is the information? How credible is the evidence? And also, the last thing to look at is also which evidence do you have that is more credible than the previous information. Now, the claim for this that medical practitioners do not take up this vaccine has no evidence. It is invalid. So it is actually a baseless claim. With regards to COVID-19, in fact, the medical practitioners were the first people that take up this vaccine. And because they are at the higher risk of contacting this virus, they will need to protect themselves first because they will be in contact with infected patients. They were the first people that actually took up this vaccine. And it's not just saying, yes, they took it. Who are those authorities that confirm that they actually took it? And we had the British Islamic Medical Association, Islamic Medical Association of Indonesia, Islamic Medical Association of South Africa. We have the World Health Organization, the CDC, that's the Center for Disease Controls. And these are the authorities that we should be listening to. So they have confirmed that medical practitioners were the first people that took up this vaccine. And in most vaccination programs, you will see that people that are at the higher risk of getting these vaccines are those people that are most encouraged to first take the vaccines. And we have the medical practitioners. You also see that these bodies are encouraging people that are having underlying illness, the old people, because the moment this virus gets into those kind of people, they get sick faster. So they are at the best position to even take it first because they wouldn't want to actually get sick and possibly die or being disabled or any other thing to happen to them. So.
Mala Adam, what would you add to this issue of healthcare professionals? Some claim, Sister Ruqayya made it clear this has not been the position of the major, both Islamic and other healthcare organizations, the World Health Organization, the Federation of Islamic Medical Association. What else would you add to this?
Yes, I will first of all advise all of us to always seek advice from the experts. That is very, very critical. The fact that some of them, it's possible some of them may not take for personal reasons, for specific reasons which may not be known to us, but you don't use the judgment of few to the decision of few to judge the overwhelming majority. That is not in any way found in Islamic jurisprudence. Let me give a metaphor of maybe a group of people in a car, when some of them will feel time belt is not important, but majority, if the majority are tying, seat belts, seat belts. So the fact that 1-2 persons didn't tie the seat belt did not mean, or does not mean, that others are not tying the seat belt. So what we should focus on is the science, the evidence that is clear and justified. So, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Quran says, "Fasalu ala dhikri in kuntum la ta'lamun." Ask those who know if you don't know. And in another verse, he said, "Al yastawi allazina ya'lamun wal lazina la ya'lamun." Will you compare those who know with those who do not know? In another way, you can say, can you compare experts in a particular field with those who are not experts? You will never. So, issues to do with health, public health related issues, we should not just dabble into them. We should consult the experts in the field.
This is excellent. That we keep reminding ourselves of what you've already said. Who is the expert? And we shouldn't allow one person, even if he comes from a medical background, who doesn't take the vaccine for whatever reason, to make us question the whole position of the majority of experts and institutions that represent the field of medicine and medical authorities. Yes. I would like to move to another related question, on which is a claim by some that medical practitioners, like in Nigeria, medical practitioners have not declared, they've not done any experiments to consider the vaccine safe. So if they haven't done the experiments to consider these vaccines safe, why do we consider it safe? What would you respond to that? That the medical guys... yeah.
Yes. So let me borrow what Alia said during the introduction to his to her topic. This issue of verification. Where is the person getting the information from? And how credible is the information? We need to check that information to be sure whether it's true or not. But it's not true. Why? First of all, if you say a medical practitioner, we have a lot of fields as far as medical practitioner is concerned. Somebody who study gynecology may be called a medical practitioner. Somebody who study other fields, maybe surgery, can be called a medical practitioner. It's just like a car where you have several components. Some specializes in repairing engines, some tires, some windows, some glasses. So you can't just speak about a particular component of a car and generalize it, actually. Medical practitioners are not responsible for testing and qualifying the vaccines. I think she made mention of some of the bodies earlier on, like WHO, World Health Organization, CDC, Center for Disease Control and Prevention. We also have bodies like Islamic Medical Association of South Africa and more. We have many of them. These are the bodies that are credible to tell us whether a vaccine is effective or not. And some of these bodies have actually did wonderful job as far as COVID-19 is concerned. And they come out to tell us that 90% of vaccine, of COVID vaccine is effective and very, very safe for us. So individuals may talk, but we respect more the experts, especially when they are institutions. Thank you.
So one point you've made, and I think that would apply to nearly any medication. Nothing is 100% perfect.
No.
And just because it didn't solve all problems doesn't mean it doesn't solve enough of the problem. And even if it doesn't solve it for an individual 100%, at least it lightens or at least reduces the severity of the major illness when it does come. And again, going back to basic principles of who is speaking, who's the authority that we listen to. Yeah. What's the credibility of this source of information compared to our standard sources such as World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, etc. Another question, we've touched this in one of the earlier episodes, but I would want to hear from your side. How would you respond to the claim that vaccines are actually there to reduce our population? What would you say to this? If I would start with Sister Rukaya.
Okay, so for vaccines, actually, there are established procedures in the development of drugs and vaccines, and testing on humans is actually done only after a certain level of safety have been established in laboratory animals. So for COVID-19 vaccine, the first person that was given a shot was Margaret Keenan from Coventry, UK, and she was given the shot on the 8th of December 2020. And she's even neither a Nigerian or an African for you to say. Even the first shot was brought to Nigeria. It was actually tested for a UK citizen. So it's really not okay to say that it's actually meant to reduce our population. Many heads of state, politicians actually took the vaccine even before bringing it down to Africa, and many other nations vaccinated their own people, about 70% of their population, and they are still doing well. We're in 2024 and they are still doing well.
Their population has not reduced.
It has not reduced, yeah. So the vaccination also didn't start in Nigeria. It didn't start in Africa. And we had many other countries, the Chinese, the Arabs, the Asians, that have taken the vaccine even more than what we have taken in Nigeria. And there is no any evidence to say the HPV vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine has any relation, or any other vaccine has relation with infertility. Because when you look at it, the previous vaccines, we had the polio, which has spent almost 50 years in Nigeria, the smallpox vaccine, more than 50 years. If they actually had impact on fertility, I think by now our women in Nigeria wouldn't have been giving birth. And imagine our fertility rate currently is around 5.2%. And now when you go around, you even see some women having 14, 15 children.
Yeah, I think so, 5.2 children per woman.
On the average. Yeah. And by now you can see women even giving birth to more than that. So I think it has no any correlation, and this actually evidence have been used to prevent people from taking up these vaccines, which has cost the life of many and even rendered many disabled for life.
Ala Adam, what would you add to this argument where some claim that the vaccine is there to control population?
I think this is a very dangerous claim, and as Qurani put it, is that like assuming when you know there is something very certain. We are talking about organizations that are known worldwide. WHO is not a particular group of people that just group themselves and start telling us about vaccine. No, these are experts that come together worldwide, and they are telling you something about something you don't know, and you keep on claiming that as if you know, and this has led many countries into serious problems. Look at Pakistan, look at Afghanistan, because of their concerns and this issue of conspiracy theory that they are trying to reduce our population. There are harms that can affect productive organs of a woman, and because of all this, even though there are other factors that may affect that, maybe like war or political unrest and other things, but these conspiracy theories, like people base their decisions on assumption. This is not encouraging at all. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he told us that we should not base most of what we do based on what? On zan. In about the zan, ithm. In another verse, he said, in about the zan, inna zanna la yughni min al-haqqi shay'a, that assumption will not be like the absolute truth. And we have a maxim in Islamic jurisprudence that says, al-yaqin la yazulu bi shakk, that certainty is not overruled by doubt. So if we are certain that these things are certified by WHO, they are certified by CDC, and somebody is coming to tell us or to assume to say they are having this and that their assumption will not overrule the certainty from the expert. So I think that's the little I can add from my side.
Yeah. So just to add on what Mal and Adam have said, if actually they even want to reduce our population, they will have added those ingredients in our toothpaste, because we import most of those things. So they will have added all those ingredients in some of these regular things that we continue to use, not even vaccine or even the drugs. Because you see that you don't believe in vaccine, and the same people that produce these vaccines are the same people that actually produce all your drugs that you use daily. So when you don't trust them in vaccination, why will you trust them when you are sick and you go to the hospital? So I think these are some of the things that we need to consider and look at.
And it's important also to note that you may have your opinion, no problem. Then what we are saying, expert opinion in a particular field should be respected and should be prioritized. I think that's the point, inshallah.
And please go ahead.
And in the issue, when it comes to issue of public health, who are those that we should listen to? Are they gynecologists? Are they surgeons? We need to listen to epidemiologists, to public health experts, to also people that have studied immunology to a certain level. So it's not just any medical doctor that needs to actually speak on this issue.
This is, I think, a very important point, where just because somebody is a doctor, you don't take a pregnant wife to a dentist just because both of them are doctors. You know, you don't take the tooth problem to the psychiatrist just because both of them are doctors. And so the need to recognize specialization. And that's why when you have a stomach problem or you have a back problem, you don't go to the dentist. Even as soon as you come to the dentist, she would say, or he would say, go to the expert. So you find, when it comes to who's speaking from the medical profession, just because somebody says, oh, it's there to control population, they need to find out who is talking and who exactly is the expert. One related question to this whole issue of conspiracy, and there's some other grand plan behind vaccinations by big pharma or pharmaceutical companies, is that it's experimental. That this is a nationwide experiment where we are all like guinea pigs, and they just want to know what would happen. They're just trying to learn, and so by giving these vaccinations, we're actually just being treated as guinea pigs. Mala Adam, what would you say to somebody who says that or makes that type of claim?
Well, first of all, ask him, where is he getting this information from? Probably he's getting it from Facebook or Instagram or somewhere. So I will be interested in knowing where is he getting the information from. If I'm able to get, I will have to check the credibility of that information. What is the evidence supporting that information? It's not about the information, it's about the strength backing the information. So that's the one thing I will do. The second thing, if you say it's experiment, I think most of the medicine we use today are open for improvement, and studies are non-stop. Research is non-stop. So in that regard, so even other drugs you are using like anti-malaria, we keep on improving on them. Flagyl and other drugs, we keep on improving in them. But this particular issue we are discussing of vaccine, take for instance COVID-19 vaccine, was tested on 40,000 volunteers with 70% success rate in achieving full immunity. 70% is an A. So I think it's a good percentage to say after the vaccine was invented, it was tested on 40,000 with success rate of 70. But second dose gave them 100% success rate. This is wonderful. This is a very wonderful outcome. So like all medicines, studies are still ongoing, research is still ongoing, and there is room for improvement for everything we do in life.
Sister Rukaya, what would you add to this?
Oh, okay. The issue of these guinea pigs, how can we be guinea pigs when these more educated, more scientifically advanced countries that have developed these vaccines are getting more of their population being vaccinated than us? Because when you look at them, for most of them, about 70 to 80% of their population are being vaccinated.
Yeah.
So if we are actually being used as guinea pigs, I think they should be the ones that to be considered as guinea pigs. Yes. And also, if it is true that we are being used as guinea pigs, it's even better to be used as guinea pigs and be protected than you not being immunized and you are susceptible to the virus. And we need to look at the effect of not being immunized or not being vaccinated. You are not just affecting yourself; you are affecting people that are close to you, your family members, and the community at large. And the main aim of Islam is for us to protect ourselves, because you can't even do some certain ibadat if you are not healthy, if you are not well, if the community is not healthy. So we need to protect ourselves. We need to verify where we get our information from. We need to understand who are the people we should listen to, who are those that we should not be listening to, for us to have a better and a healthier community.
Jazakallahu khairan. I think, very important points you made. And I think it's worth remembering that there's the guinea pig phase of medication, but that's usually done before the medicine is brought out into public. And even if it's going to be brought for human trials, they will look for volunteers and use those people to validate the research before it is taken out into the general public. But there's an important point you made, which is tied to the scientific method, which operates on the assumption that so long as new knowledge will change old conclusions, and science is going to keep trying to get new knowledge from research, from feedback, then medicines will continue to improve. And we will always be taking medicines off the shelf and bringing new ones in. Just because we take them off the shelf doesn't mean they were bad. It means we have now realized we've got something better. But when it was put on the shelf, it was because it was the best available at the time.
Exactly.
So it's actually a strength of science to have that
Humility,
the intellectual humility, to not just blindly keep following what forefathers said, but to always remove things. At one time, the main medicine for malaria was chloroquine. But then it was gradually removed off our shelves. Then artesunate and other medications were brought. Nobody complained. And some of these other medications, antibiotics removed for this. Stomach ulcer, which before no stomach ulcer was associated with bacteria. But then they discover Helicobacter pylori and realize that, this is actually the one causing this type of thing, this stomach ulcer. And then antibiotic can be used. And even though it takes time for the medical profession to catch up with it, they have removed some drugs, they've put new ones, and this will continue. And when vaccines are put out, it doesn't mean the vaccine is bad when it is pulled out of circulation. It just means something better has been discovered that would help. So instead of looking at it and getting suspicious, they removed it, there must be an experiment going on. In a sense, science tries to never claim certainty about anything if new knowledge will change past conclusions. And so long as we will continue pushing the frontiers of knowledge, research, new PhDs, new investigation, getting feedback, studying side effects, the World Health Organization, the Centers for Disease Control, all these medical experts who look into various fields would continue to change their positions on some things, but that's actually a strength of that. Just as every human being, you continue to change your conclusions as you read more.
Exactly.
And you study more. So I think it's to just recognize that the most credible sources of information are the ones that we should rely on, and not allow unsubstantiated sources of information, people we don't know. Even if they are said to be, he's a medical doctor. What kind of medical doctor? Is he in public health? Is he in epidemiology and studying epidemics and immune systems? And
a general practitioner.
Or just a general practitioner. Even if he's a consultant, gynecologist, that's not his area. So I think this point that keeps coming up again. Where do you get your information from? Who's the authority on this type of area? And who is a greater authority that you are listening to? Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you so much for your comments and contributions to this discussion. Inshallah, until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم